Hey, what's going on, man? Richard Anthony calling out that Hawk Nation.
Hawk Nation, what's up, man?
We're talking about
it's that 12th man, which y'all know.
Let's go.
We're talking about Richard Sherman right now, team.
Well, you talking to the right man to talk about Richard Sherman, ain't you?
Hey, I guess we are, man. What do you think about his post-game sentiments after the game? I mean, a lot of people have a issue with it, and use that to talk about in general how people should treat these post-game conferences. Because I mean, if you're going to give people freedom of speech to say something that they want in an emotional moment, how do you turn around and denigrate them on the back end for saying how they truly feel? Go ahead, team.
Yeah. I appreciate that. First up, man, thank you all for putting the show on. Thank you all for the website, man. We all love it, and we all glad to talk about what we care about together. Even if we don't agree, at least we're talking about what we want to talk about. So
appreciate that, Richard.
I want to say that. I appreciate y'all. And speaking for the 12th man, ain't nobody here tripping, right? Everybody's like, man, just say what you got to say.
Exactly.
Say it. Winning the game for us,
exactly.
Right? But as far as the media's responsibility, no, they did what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be on the field. They're supposed to get the story.
Yeah.
They're supposed to make it as big as they can and as real as they can. My take is that Sherm made a mistake.
How?
Now, really?
How was the mistake made, Richard?
Man, let me tell you, not in what he feels, but in how he read the situation, because he could say whatever he wants about Crabtree, like I said a million times. But his issue was that he took that forum, that platform across the country, and used it for his own personal vindictive purposes rather than to lift up his team.
Can agree with that. That's where I was going with my sentiments. I felt the same way, Richard. I felt like I love to hear that type of energy come out of him, that type of confidence exude out of him. However, I think he needs to be humbled a bit, and I think going into a matchup to where you just knocked off the previous NFC champions in the 49ers, but you're going into another matchup with one of the best aerial attacks in the NFL, you're going to need that same confidence, and I think he might get humbled in the Super Bowl on the biggest platform.
No, man, that's never a word. We're not worried about that whatsoever. The issue is that he wasn't representing his team. You know, the defensive linemen, the linebackers, the coaches.
It was about the eye.
The water boy. He wasn't representing all the people that got him there because, he's blowing up Crabtree. I'm like, kill Crabtree, but you do it at your own time. That's not the venue for that. That's not the venue for that. And I'm okay with that too. But he hurt his brand. That's fine. His team will forgive him. But it was unfortunate. My take on the issue is, like I've been saying, does the punishment fit the crime? Everyone's calling them all kinds of gangsters and thugs and so much worse because they don't like that he stepped outside of what was right. He made a mistake, but it wasn't that bad of a mistake.
I really enjoyed Richard's commentary.
Yeah,
man.
I did.
He can get a mic in
Call
here
in
if he
again,
to,
man.
Definitely call in again. Definitely need to hear from him again, Devin. And, he felt as though perhaps I was getting at a dead horse in which we know the media is corrupt, so we should turn a blind eye to it, Devin. But I feel as though, even though we understand that, I think the more we don't pinpoint on it, the more we don't speak on it, the more we don't point it out, Devin, the more it's just going to sit there and people, if you have to abide by something that is corrupt, Devin, it only becomes more corrupt.
Okay.
It only makes other people more corrupt. And I'm saying, Devin, if this is an issue, if players can't come out and say what they truly feel in their hearts, Devin, then why interview them? Just have a team spokesperson go out there
I understand that.
and make some
I'm all
type
for
of
that.
political statement,
But
Devin. Somebody that's trained to speak, Devin.
Yeah.
If we're gonna sit up there and run in Jameis Winston's face with a microphone and then tell him he doesn't sound or speak the way that he's supposed to speak, well, damn, Florida State, go out there and have a spokesperson who is designed to do this.
Yeah.
But don't keep putting these people on the chopping block in one of their most emotional situations of their lives.
I agree with you.
Ask them to be candid
Yeah.
and then denigrate them for candid comments, Devin. I can't ask you how you truly feel and then get pissed off when you tell me.
No.
Who does that?
Yeah,
Who does that?
That's just the way of the world. Media builds you up to tear you down. You make a good play, and then it becomes a negative situation. People want to find you for your comments. It wasn't what he said. It was how he said it. It's the classic case of, maybe the intonation, the kind of tone of his voice, how the inflection was when he said what he said. It wasn't good. It didn't make for very, subtle,
Get a spokesperson.
PG-rated
Get a spokesperson. I'm saying, Devin, you see these big time companies, even these politicians sometimes, Devin.
Yeah.
If they're in a bad way, you're just not even going to see them. There's some guy named Ron, whatever the hell his name is, comes out here, has a stack of papers, reads some stuff for 3 hours,
what happens.
leaves the podium, and there it is.
Yeah.
Or you see some big
kind of like a debriefing a crime scene or something like that.
Some statement
where you hear from
that
the
was
sheriff.
released saying that, this is how we feel about it.
I got you. We got another call, John. Let's take it.
House Sports on your radio. Tell us who you are. Tell us who you repping.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Adam.
Adam Woods.
Adam.
Richard Sherman. His sentiments. He's at it again, Adam. Talk to me about it, man.
Condolences, man.
Here we go.
Condolences.
I like to before I do that, I like to address the House Sports Nation and say I will eat my crow as a fan and as a picking the Patriots
as
and
we
everything
all
like
will.
that. And the Broncos played a much better game on all levels.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad at my team and how they performed, but in the same sense, I'm happy for what they've been able to accomplish despite all the stuff throughout the year. So good luck to Denver. Good luck to the Seahawks in the
That's
Super Bowl.
good sportsmanship,
great
Adam.
Sportsmanship.
You know what? I kind of thought it's Richard Sherman. I mean, if you ask us certain players, questions, you're going to get, the response based on that person's personality. And they went to Richard Sherman for a reason. They could have gone to Russell Wilson. They could have gone to a ton of other players. They went to him because they knew he was going to give that type of response that they wanted. And he played to the crowd, or he played to the mind games or whatever it is. And I could appreciate trash talking and stuff like that in games. Personally, I would have rather seen Richard Sherman trash talk Anquan Bolden, because Bolden has been, the last the playoffs, he's been talking a lot of smack to, corners and everything else like that, and getting in people's faces. So I kind of rather Richard Sherman kind of went one-on-one with him and shut him up a little bit. But it's Richard Sherman. He said, to me, he said worse in different conversations. So I'm more of an idea of be classy about it.
Right.
If you win, be classy about it. Richard Sherman's not, he's an educated man, went to Stanford, so on and so forth. He does a lot of stuff in his community, but in the same sense, on the other end of it, he almost has like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like, he's a really great guy, he's real educated, but then he has his moments where you're like, why are you saying that? You could totally go a different avenue, a different approach. And I watched it. He appeared to try to, I couldn't tell if he was taunting Crabtree at the end,
He was
or
definitely taunting
genuinely
him.
trying to
Let's
say
be
good
real
game.
about it.
That's what he does.
He said he was trying to say good game.
Yeah.
And maybe that's
Let's
kind
be
of
real.
why he said what he said, because, Crabtree decided to, push him in the face. So, that might be warranted, but he said a lot worse on national TV. I mean, I know I've seen the post come up ever since it about when Richard Sherman was on, First Take, and they were asking about his abilities, and he was literally being disrespectful to
Skip Bayless,
and Stephen A. And to me, those kind of comments of "I'm better at life than you," "I'm better at this," "I'm better at that," and you've been in the league 2 years. To me, that's more disrespectful.
Yeah.
To somebody who's been in the industry, has followed sports, to say that I'm a better human being than you, I'm better than this than you, and everything. To me, those words I dislike a lot more, than what he said at the end of the game.
Okay, I can see where you're coming from, Adam. But at the same time, I look at this situation, and once again, Richard Sherman, he might be an upstanding guy off the field, but when you get him in that competition type of mode, I cannot disagree with anything a person could say, because it takes a lot for a guy to go through practice, to work on your crafts, to hone in on your skills, and then to go through this competition where you're asking for the best wide receiver. You're asking for the best of the best, and you place yourself in these positions, and when you go out there and perform and excel, I'm not going to ask you to diminish who you are, because there's a lot of trash talk in sports. There just is. And in football, it's a physical interaction. You're going to have that. So in the heat of the moment, you're going to the Super Bowl, you just made the biggest play of your life. No, I'm not going to ask him to suppress his personality for the well-being of the national audience that's right before him. No.
Devin,
be you.
Devin,
I grew up watching boxing. So Mike Tyson and I used to watch all the historical videos from Muhammad Ali and how smooth he thought he was and how he was just a good trash talker. It's just a part of the nature of the game to me.
We're going to roll into our clean house segment, Devin. And you know what? I'm always the last person
Mm-hmm.
to want to discuss anything about race, Devin. I just don't like it. I don't like the race issue. I like people to be judged completely contingent upon what they do on the field, Devin. And a lot of times you see that race card come out. A lot of times when you get into the African-American quarterback conversation, Devin, the race card gets pulled out.
They like
when
to
you
drag
talk
that
about
one.
the media, the race card gets pulled out, Devin. But you know, I want to have a moment right here, Devin Emery, where not that I'm pulling out the race card, Devin, but something I'm concerned about, Devin. I'm not hampered about. I'm concerned about the usage of this word, and that word is the word thug, Devin. The word thug is thrown around far too loosely in the NFL, in the NBA, and for some reason, unbeknownst to me, Devin Emery, it seems
The race card
always in relation to somebody of African American or dark skinned ethnicity, Devin. No, I'm not trying to pinpoint the reason, Devin, but I'm saying when you saw Johnny Manziel and his antics with the "Show Me the Money" sign when he was getting flagged for all these different things, when he's out there in the public with his acting crazy, getting drunk before camps and things like that, getting drunk before the Manning camp, he was arrogant, he was pompous, he was overconfident, but never, Devin, never was he a thug, Devin. When you talk about how people viewed the University of Miami when they were in prominence and getting up there, they had a predominant amount of African American individuals, so therefore they're thuggish, Devin. And I think that the first thing that we heard from a lot of individuals, a lot of media syndicates, a lot of people who had their take and their ability to say something about Richard Sherman, there was this umbrella that they ran under, and it had thug on the top of it, Devin, as if it's okay to use that as another way of demeaning African American individuals.
Yeah.
Outside of saying the word that perhaps they may have on their mind to say, Devin. And I don't. I'm saying, Devin.
Yeah.
I think that the thug moniker concerns me not because the word itself concerns me, but that I want that word and that viewpoint to be spread out amongst everyone who fits into that barometer.
Well, don't use it at all.
Or not, but no. But I'm saying if Richard Sherman gets on television, use absolutely zero profanity, and is just acting in a verbose way, then he should be allowed to be given a charge without being a thug. And if he is a thug, then you got to make sure that people like Johnny Manziel are a thug. You got to make sure that people like Richie Incognito are called thugs too, Devin Emery.
Yeah, bullies.
I heard him called bully, Devin, but I didn't hear the thug.
I know.
I'm saying
I know.
Devin, did you see what he
You
sent
got
to the
something
man's
now,
phone, Devin?
I'm following you. Yeah.
He sends expletive after expletive, Devin, and he's a bully.
Yeah.
Richard Sherman says nothing to anybody. Just says this guy's mediocre. Don't throw him my side anymore. And all of a sudden,
thug, hoodlum.
He's got straps in the car, Devin.
Yeah.
My house is clean, man. You got it.
Your house is clean. Well, I'm going to take a lighter tone, John. I'm not going to come at people about the thugs and the racial
I just had an issue
tension here.